Yay! Hello, friends.
Hello, hello. I'm so happy we have friends with us. This is
I
exciting.
know. That's so great. Ugh, I'm like, it finally felt like fall the last couple days,
Yeah.
which I'm happy about. But also, just on the other side of my state, they had 20 inches of snow. I'm sorry, 20 inches of snow on
That's
Tuesday. And I'm like,
awful.
I know. One of my friends lives there and she's like, there's so much snow. I was like, oh, damn it. Like, I'm happy it's colder, but I want it to be fall because I have
Yeah.
all my cute sweaters to wear.
hmm
I know.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my Sophie Lark one because
Ooh.
it's a Raylan one and I love it so much.
Are those nice? I've been
Oh
wanting
my
to get
God.
one,
It's
but I've been a
really
little worried.
fancy sweater. It's
Is it?
really fancy one. Yeah, it's really thick and it has that I don't know how to explain it. It's like really soft, but it just feels like heavier. It's not the same material as the Hanes ones. I don't know if you I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very warm. That's part of the reason too is I got it. I was like, I'm only going to be able to wear this if it's like really cold because it's very heavy. So I'm like, well, I just won't turn the heat on for a couple days so that I can have the cold weather. But you live in San Diego, yeah, you probably don't get too many seasons. I mean, I get all 4 seasons, but sometimes we get them all in the same week, and that's not always fun. We'll have 70 degrees, and then we'll have 50 degrees, and then 30 degrees. But anyway, also, we always like to bitch about the weather, no matter where we live. It's the one constant around the world is that we complain about our weather. So, anyway. Kazi's making lots of noise, everybody. So Crystal has to mute herself when he barks.
He is it's the weirdest thing. This time of day lately, we've got this pack of young boys, and they just ride their scooters back and forth against our sidewalk, and he's always right by the front door, and he just hates that they're out there.
We're
So
not
I'm
allowed
just
to join it.
I'm
Not in front of my house.
So yeah, if I have to mute a lot, you just carry the conversation because I'm the only one home, so I can't tell him to shush.
I can handle it. But anyway, I will say I think we'll have some time to talk about other stuff because I don't have a ton to say about this one. But let's get into it. I mean, not a lot of bad stuff to say, but not a extreme amount of nuances to talk about. Would we agree that that's not where with Lord of Scoundrels where I'm I have a list of stuff to talk about because it's one of my favorites.
That was so fun though. I loved hearing you talk about that. That was
Oh, I
fantastic.
love it. We definitely I think that's the hard thing right now of burning through all these historicals we love is I literally want to talk about just all of them that we've been reading. There's so many good ones.
We could do that, honestly.
I mean
if we
I was
have
just
time after this.
Guys, I bought a copy of this because I love it so dearly. But it is
no. You have to introduce that the way you introduced it to me.
No, I said I'm looking at this ugly ass favorite book of mine. That's what I said because I adored this book and I really want to talk about it. But anyway, sorry. It's so ugly. I wish it would get a recover.
It's a bad cover. Yeah,
I need to reach out and be like, hey, this is one of my favorite books of the year of yours. Can you please recover it? Or can we do a GoFundMe? I will donate. So we can
GoFundMe to rescue the ugly cover.
Give some work to a half native man who's nice and sexy, put a cowboy hat on him. I think Yellowstone has some actors we could get them, because this book is it's wonderful.
Did you ever see that? I don't know. This is a tangent. On TikTok, there was a very popular clothing store, and they would make TikToks that he was her hot boss. Do you know that guy? The hot boss thing on TikTok. It
don't think
was
I've seen that one.
anyway. They were super popular, and he just recently has been the cover model for a ton of Jennifer Hartman's books, and I'm like,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Like which ones?
The one, let's see. She posted it in her stories today that.
Is it like the Beating Heart one or something?
I can't remember.
Okay.
Now I gotta find her.
Well, the
Anyway,
only one I've read is Only Hands. So unless he was a hand model, I haven't like read it. But I have them all like on my list because I love that one so much. Let's see.
I'm gonna send it to you.
Okay.
So you can look at it later. Anyway, we can talk about the book. I just I got so invested in their TikToks because they like gave the impression that she had like this huge crush on him and that he was like into her too, but I mean like they weren't, but I was like, I was into it.
Yeah.
Anyway, shall we do our rating? Should we do star ratings first? I know some people, Justin gave his star.
I mean, they love hearing us rant anyway, or they wouldn't be our friends. So I think like these friends of ours who show up, they're all very aware of the tangents we can go on, and they're still here. I think we're good. But anyway, yes. What were our star ratings? 3 stars.
Yeah, same, Tiffany. I know. I thought they were going to end up together too. She knows what I'm talking about. The TikTok couple.
Oh,
okay. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
No. I'm gonna look it up, Tiffany, after this one. I gave this one 4 stars. I think it's a perfectly solid 4 star. That's where I landed at with it. We'll get into more of this. I think the main thing for me is that this book was going into it at a disadvantage because Never Seduces Scott is a 6-star book for me. The second book in that series is a 5-star book for me. So particularly like the heroes in those books just have a much deeper impression on me. Like Grandma's in my book boyfriends of the year, and this guy I still love him because he's a very typical like medieval hero. And this is something I won't go into it all. I'll let you say your star rating first, but I have some thoughts that I was holding back from telling you. No, I want you to say your thought first because I'm
okay
because I want to talk about it. But what are yours?
I gave this 4 stars. I felt like this was a solid 4-star read for me too. Yeah. Like I honestly really enjoyed reading this. There was really only one, and it was what I talked to you about, Jen, that really made me dislike this book, and that's really why I only why I gave it 4 stars. I feel like Maya Banks' writing is very easy to get into. It's very accessible. She really has a good way to tell a story that gets you invested in her characters. Like I loved the beginning with her and Crispin, the boy, and honestly, I really felt like I was.
Kazi's gonna make her pause. It's like we're playing green light.
Okay, I think he's done. So I really felt like I was gonna hate this hero after that first scene, but honestly, he is definitely not my least favorite hero I've ever read. Like he grew on me a lot. I really honestly liked him a lot. So I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was a 4-star read.
Same. And it's funny too because I had said this to her, like she messaged me about the scene. We'll talk about the scene. And I didn't say anything back because I felt the same way right after I listened to it. So I didn't want to be that person who's like, just keep going. That's what happened to me. I was listening to this in the car and I had a drive to make, and that's what you do in the car, Jen. And when that part was happening, I get this thing called ragey tears. I get them very often. And I had ragey tears for Marin because I was so upset that that's how she was being like treated, and that she wasn't being given like just a common courtesy to explain the situation that happens. Yeah. But then it just becomes clear that that's just the type of guy that he is. And I don't know. I see 2 ways about it. It's like when I read historical romances like this that are like medieval, that are in like keeps and, communal living type ones like this and stuff, where they have really set roles for everybody, I tend to give it more grace, especially if the hero has an arc that goes from living within those confines to changing his mind. I really appreciate those. And one of the ways I described this one as well is like this hero, or this setup is kind of like the opposite of Never Seduce a Scot, where in the way that like in that book, the hero is already on the heroine side and everyone else is against her. And in this one, I feel like everyone else is on her side and he is not against her, but is like not on board with everything. And so I like that because he was being kind of an asshole in the beginning. It really allowed her to form these really great connections with the community, which are very important if you're going to be the lady of the keep and stuff like that. So anyway, that is something for me, is that this one was a tough beginning for me because especially when you're in medieval time or like further back than this, when the women had no say, nothing at all. I really need a hero to be different than all the other men around him. Like I need him to be like, well, that might be how they do it, but like this is our relationship and we're not going to do it that way. And so if they lean into that too hard, I get really ragey at them because I'm like, this woman literally can't do anything without you. Like you need to be better. So anyway.
Yeah, that first scene, that was hard. That was hard to read. It almost feels like I could see how that could be like triggering for a lot of people. It felt like that was just building trauma in her life and it was awful. But I do feel like for me, the thing that made me more on board with him is how he sort of worked so hard to make up for that later on. Like I do wish that he had communicated with her. I feel like it's the least he could have done, but I also think that he really tried to kind of make it up for her, or to show her at least that life with him wasn't going to be terrible.
Yeah. I really wish that for reals, I kind of wish he would have like pulled a Luca moment and just been like, give me your foot, or like I'm gonna just throw some blood on the sheets or something.
yeah.
I don't know, because that the sheets ended up being a big part of the story, and it was a very interesting thing how that was, and it would have been, I don't know, I just think it would have been super ironic if he hadn't taken her virginity that way and he'd like cut his foot or something to do it, and then those were still used as like the virgin sheets that the villain tries to use later on. So okay, so this is a good point to mention it. So for me, what I was holding back to share at the live show is that the beginning of this book really reminded me of like an old Bodice Ripper. Like this reminded me of an older Joanna Lindsay, where there is that like, no, I just have to take your virginity. Don't question me. I'm just going to do this. Like, you don't know what I'm up against or whatever, where they just won't communicate what's going on.
Yeah.
And it would be so simple to just be like, we have to do this right now, because if I don't, and they like get you, they could just take you. But if I've already taken your virginity, then like you'll be safe and it's consummated. And if I die, then you are like this or whatever. Like seriously, you could have said that as you're taking her clothes off. It's not that to say, but that lack of doing that, like not trusting her to like explain it, which Marin most likely would have completely been on board, even if it was still kind of quickly done and painfully done. At least she would have known that he was trying to protect her instead of, I just have to do this because. So
well, I feel like the whole scene feels so like there's just such a lack of consideration for her feelings in all ways. Like even when like that moment when she realizes he like ruined her dress and how sad that she was about that, like that was heartbreaking to read. That was hard. That was so
but
sad.
Also I think part of it too is that I totally believe that Maya Banks knew she was doing that to us. Like, I don't think it's a case of carelessly writing it. We wish he'd been more considerate, but so does Marin. Marin wishes that he'd been more considerate. And, I just, it doesn't make, we know this. I rate off of enjoyment, and there's a star less of enjoyment than I would like there to be. But that doesn't mean that I look at this and be like, she just should not have made that choice. Like, that's the choice he's choosing to make to show that he's an asshole. But he still is trying to protect her. So there's that seed of like, okay, there's still some room for him to grow into this, because he doesn't mean to be traumatic. He's just not thinking, hey, maybe I should just tell her why, you know? So that's where he can grow, like he can grow into that. So it doesn't make me happy, but I still think it was well done in the story for what she was doing.
I agree with you about that, and I think that's a really good point to point out, that she did not, it wasn't carelessly done. Like, it was very clearly planned, and yeah, that was true. But this is an interesting point, and I guess that, like, I thought that too, this comment about she wasn't aware of what the deal was with her virginity, and I kind of chalked that up to her upbringing with the nuns, and I was just like, maybe she doesn't know about that. That's, I don't know.
Wasn't there because didn't the nun like tell her the wrong stuff?
It sounds like she told her like the nuts and bolts of everything, but nothing else. Like
nuts and bolts stuff. Okay. Good to know. Anyway, right. I thought she had said some stuff wrongly though, and not just.
Maybe she did, and I'm not. It seemed like she. What I took away from it was that she just told her just the complete basics of this is how it works, you know, A to B, like that. So
yeah, right. Which true. I still think, because there's a way that then why would she think they're, I don't know, because there's some that you've read then where the women are only told that it's going to hurt. So I feel like it should have been just like a confirmation of that almost.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You know, because generally we read in these where the woman is surprised when it like doesn't hurt that much, or it shouldn't if someone's taking their time to do things the right way, you know. So anyway.
Yeah. I think that this is a good point. I felt like there was realism into his character and that he didn't hurt her on purpose and he learned and grew from it. I think what this says about him as a character is that he, at this point in his character journey, he's willing to do whatever it takes to secure the safety of his people, you know?
Because he blackmails her into marrying him anyway.
Yeah,
you know, true. He's like uses his son, he uses safety, like he's willing to, because his people are on the line. Like, I think that's the thing. Whenever we're reading like a medieval story, it's the laird has so much weight on him. He has so much weight on him, because literally, if you don't have the agreement of the crown, they could just come and wipe you out. If you don't have alliances with other clans, you could starve. You could be you could be basically trapped in your castle, because if you leave, people will be killed. Like, there's so much on his shoulders. And again, speaking of reading enjoyment, that doesn't affect it. But I just try to, whenever I'm reading a medieval set story, I try to remember what the stakes are for messing something up. There's so much higher than even in like other kinds of historicals. So,
and I think in a lot of ways, knowing that the hero is willing to do whatever it takes to keep his people safe, I feel like that adds a layer of respect in my eyes for that hero. Like, it helps. Like, I like that in a hero, you know. I don't know, but I've seen a few people say that they struggled with the heroine. Should we talk about her?
Yeah, I was just noticing that too. We can absolutely talk about that. Someone up above who said they gave it 2 stars because.
Right, I think that was T. Let's see if I can find. Yeah, wait, no, that's not it.
Which I thought this might come up. Like, I'll be honest, I thought that the heroine would come up. And again, lately, I'm a lot more. I like feistier heroines like this. I don't think she was too stupid to live, in my opinion. Like, your opinion is not wrong, Stacey. I'm like, in my opinion, I don't think she was too stupid to live. I think she's so just frustrated with what happens and scared by how it starts. And then she thinks she's rescued this guy's kid. And he's just like, oh, well, I'm just going to use you. Which is what she's been told her whole life, that people are going to want to use you because of your connection, you know? And then this guy who she, you know, he's like, oh, well, I need you too, so I'm going to force you into something like this. So I can understand, because I always want the heroine and I want them to be on board for it to happen as well. But I also understood why she was like, I don't get to make any choices. And you might seem nicer than other people, but you're still trying to do the same thing to me that he's trying to do. Yeah. So what makes you better? what makes you better? You literally want the same thing. You want power because you have a kid and you're like being a little bit nicer. He ultimately does the same thing that the other guy wants to do. We're just like him because he's the hero, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So he does everything that she was warned about. He does her. But anyway, we're talking about the heroine, not the hero. Sorry. What do you think about her?
I had after I like I didn't really look at reviews or anything before I read this book. I only looked at them after, and I was kind of surprised how many people said they didn't like the heroine. They thought she was too stupid to live. They thought she was naive, because I don't know if it was really just like in the beginning when she sort of risks it all for Crispin and she is so protective of him, like that made her like, I really liked her after that, you know, like I just loved her, and I felt like I wrote off any of her naiveness or any of her like, which I don't really feel like, for in my eyes, I didn't really get that vibe a lot. I actually really liked this heroine. I thought she was great. I liked her. But if there was anything in there that made her seem naive, I just kind of was like, well, yeah, she was raised by these nuns, basically. Like, she's going to be naive, you know?
I think it was as believable a setup as any that she would be stuck in a rut feeling a certain way. Because she was hidden away all this time because this might happen. She traumatically watches some people, like, do they kill some of the nuns, right? Do they? Or they just hurt them? I can't remember. I read this 2 weeks ago and my brain starts to lose stuff. But
I think they killed them, but wait.
She gets like traumatized, and then she thinks she's rescued, and then he wants to force the same thing. Like, there's just so much of it for me. So that's fair enough. I also, there is a little bit of the like quality of the hero is trying to protect you, and you do a couple of things repeatedly where it's like, I told you not to do that because it's dangerous. But he was also being ridiculous. Like, they're in his own keep, and he's afraid something's going to happen. And I'm like, yeah, but maybe your keep just shouldn't be that dangerous if she's not allowed to walk. Your children running around, the kids are running around. Like, come on. So I think it went both ways. It's like she would do things that he told her not to, and then bad stuff would happen. So we'd be like, she's too stupid to live. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't know, maybe it shouldn't be so dangerous for her to walk to the whatever. Like, I don't know. So I can understand it. I'm usually very sensitive to how annoying the heroines are too. Lately, I'm not so much. I'm through a phase where I like pig-headed women if they're doing it for the right reason. That quickly goes the other way when I read certain Gilded Age novels that we won't talk about because it's so funny, where they are stupid in a different way. Like, when they're stupid and just, in my personal opinion, stupid in certain ways. But when it's about like protecting a kid or protecting their, you know, relationships, like it doesn't bug me as much. But that's a personal thing. And I agree with you. Like, her connection with the kid, I don't always like reading kids in books, but Crispin was adorable, and he wanted to like call her mama right away, and that he like was in her bed to protect her from his dad. Like, I was done. I was like, yes, I loved it.
I loved it. That was one of my favorite parts of the whole book, was their relationship. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, that's a hard line to walk. I think he was written a little bit older than he should have been. But also, I'm okay with that in a book. I'm fine with it as long as he wasn't used overly much. Like, he's used in the beginning where he needs to be, and then he's kind of out of the way while they're working on their relationship stuff, which is important.
That's true.
And there's a lot of complex scenarios. Yeah. Okay. So maybe let's move. Unless you had more to say about her, I guess we didn't. We kind of talked about him in the beginning. We were jumping over that, but yeah. I think we got on board with him. He was good. There is a lot of plot in this one. So
there really was. Yeah.
I will say this isn't like I don't search things out for this, but I actually really love the plot of someone's being poisoned, and so they're like acting a certain way because they're being like, I don't know, either poisoned or like hidden away or something. And so I kind of love that that's what was happening to the king. That also happens in the Anne Gracie series that I read. The reason why I love the first book so much, that's what's happening to the aunt in that one or whatever. I don't know. So I had a feeling that's what was happening to the king, and I liked that's what was happening. But I feel like in Scottish books, this is something I'll say, they are pretty much always the other guy is trying to take you to marry you instead. I think that's a pretty like classic plot point in this, and it was a lot.
Which I think is interesting on a very basic level of like that's the power that the woman has, but it's not her own, but she's just like a power piece that's being moved around, you know? So it's interesting.
Yep.
Let's see. I'm excited to read the next books too. Honestly, like I didn't hear great reviews about this one, so I liked it a lot. I went in with pretty low expectations, and I honestly really liked it. It was
Well, I knew Jesson liked it. It was the only Maya Banks she had read before me, because she read this one first, but I read Never Seduce a Scot first, and she had liked this one a lot. But I have the next two books. I just got them from Libby, and I'm really excited to read those too.
Yeah, it is like Never Seduce a Scot is honestly close to perfection. Like I love that book. It's so good. Like honestly, everything about it is just great. But I also feel like when you have a book that hits everything just perfectly for you, like it's pretty rare for an author to be able to repeat that exact.
Yeah, unless you're Lisa Kleypas.
Or I was just gonna say,
if you're Kennedy Ryan or Lisa Kleypas, you can maybe do it more than once. But it's pretty tough. It's okay.
I love this too. I thought that was so cute.
Yes, I know. I'm excited. Because I had gotten the third one like right away from Libby, but the second one took like a month to get. So I was just like, come on. And I'm pretty sure they're on AnyPlay. I think these are on AnyPlay.
I listened to it on AnyPlay, so I'm sure they have the other two. But.
Yeah. So the plot was good. Again, it's one I've read before. I thought it was incredibly terrifying though. Like this is weird. I thought it was totally terrifying that he had a spy who stole their wedding sheets. Like my stomach dropped out when he's like, see, this is proof that I'm really her husband. And I was like,
I was thinking that too.
I just was like going to die from it. And she does retch a lot. She is pregnant for a good portion of this. Pukes a lot. And she pukes on the guy when he tries to rape her too. I love when that happens. And that's enough to scare them away. I'm like, wow, you don't really want this that bad. You can't just, you're in medieval. See, here's the thing that's unrealistic to me. They're in the medieval times. They smell like piss and shit anyway. You throw up, you just wipe it off. I mean, I don't want to, but it just makes me like, oh, I threw up on him, and so he stopped, and I was like, ooh, he probably would have just turned you around. But I'm just saying, I'm not saying I like that, but anyway, there was a lot of throw up in here.
Yeah, for sure. Way too much retching.
way to bring that up, Justin. But no, I was terrified of that he did that, because I was like, wow. And without the king to say different, that dude's just gonna believe him, you know? And they just handed her over, and I'm just like, oh my god, like what are we gonna do? So that was a way to have some stakes right there. Maya Banks does do the stakes pretty good. I will say that.
I think so too. I really do. Like
in this is the third book of hers that I read. I felt scared. I felt pretty scared. So wait, you think you read it? I hope you read it, Margaret. You showed up for the book club.
So we talked about overall feelings, heroine, hero, plot a little bit. What about the steam? What do you think about that?
Oh, what I think about? It was okay. It just
that's how I felt too.
it was there. It was good.
It was present. Yeah, I do think like I don't know like I said, like the second scene just made up for a whole lot. Even though maybe it wasn't as perfect as we would have liked, it was still like I don't know.
Yeah. It's I don't know, these kind of ones. I think that's part of the reason too why it's not a 5-star is that this kind of historical that's like a lower level steam, like the relationship has to be like really, really good. And this one was just like, it was okay. Like, I believed they were in love. It was sweet. I'm more happy for her to be Crispin's mom than I was for him to be her husband, kind of thing.
Yeah, I know.
So, but that's great. I love a little boy to get a mom just as much as a man to get a husband. So, wait, I love that too. A man to get a wife. I've been reading a lot of gay romances this week, everybody, so that was a Freudian slip on my part. I love a man to get a husband.
I like that too, honestly.
I don't mind that at all, but that's not what we're talking about. What a happiness to rescue. Oh,
Stacey, I was wondering if that's because Cameron's going to show up in the next books, probably.
Yeah.
So they didn't want to wipe him out completely, maybe?
Right. He's probably got to be a bigger time villain.
Yeah.
Than that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, are we?
I mean, now we should just talk about some books, I think.
Let's do it. Let's remind for our next month's book, shall we?
Oh, yeah. I think it's right behind me. I can't reach it, but
I got it. I thought ahead and grabbed it.
You thought ahead this time, even though you're super blurry. But that is, that's The Highwayman, everybody. So excited to read that book. Oh, my word.
I am very excited to read this again, honestly. Like, I have just been recently thinking, like, I need to finish this series for sure, because I still haven't finished it.
But you read The Hunter.
I've only read the first 3. I've read this one, The Hunter, and The Highlander, so I'm very excited for that one.
Bonnie is so right. Oh, excited for Crispin to get him on. Yes, I know. He was so cute. He deserved a good mom. It is. It is one of the best ever written. I will die by that. So great. Also, it's been it's been a long time since I've read it, so I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Just to read her books again. Like, whenever one of them comes, like, I just read it so quickly. So I'm really excited.
Have you read all of hers now? All of her?
The only ones I haven't finished is her. So I've read all of her like regular historical. I haven't finished the paranormal, and I haven't tried her Lady Holmes series.
Yeah, I'm really interested in those actually.
Yeah, I've heard good things, but I've heard that's a super slow burn over multiple books, and so I haven't been eager to really pick it up. But I'm still reading her like Good Girl series, which rolls off of this series.
Justin, you haven't read it yet? Oh, I'm so excited.
Justin, if you feel less than a 4-star, you're going to have to keep it to yourself, my friend. I care deeply about your opinion, but if you don't give this a 4-star or more, no. I'm teasing you.
We love you, Justin. I honestly really love your insights, Justin. Even if we don't agree.
I absolutely agree. You know, I just have to give you shit because all my favorite ones, you'll be like, oh, it's 3 stars. And I really liked it. And I'm like, I hate you a little bit. It was really good. 3 stars. I'm like, no. Especially, you put up with us crazy people and you're still around. So, at all. Yes. Thank you. I'm sure
I recommended this book to a friend who is a romance reader, and she hated it. And I was just like, I don't know if we can be friends anymore.
I know. What is it about you that people think they can just trash your favorite books?
I don't know, but I'm like, I was trying to remember. It was either this book or The Duchess Steele that got me back into historicals, and I think it was this one first. And sure? It's just what?
I thought it was The Duchess Steele.
It might be The Duchess.
About it on the video.
It might be The Duchess Steele. It's one of those, but both of those are like super sentimental to me for that reason. So.
Yeah. Are these ones on AnyPlay? I didn't check.
I didn't check either. I think that I know they're on Scribd if anybody still has that.
These books used to be on Audible Escape. You guys don't understand.
That's where I first listened to them at was Audible Escape.
Yeah, it was. I binged all of them. And all of the yes, they are all on there. So you can listen to them on any play. Cool.
He is such a fantastic narrator. Like, he literally makes those books so good.
Yeah, all 7 of the Victorian Rebels and the 3 from the others the trilogy too. So that's cool. Yes, Derek Perkins is amazing. He's amazing.
I haven't heard, have we heard anything about if she's writing another series or?
I mean, I believe the 2 series she's writing in is she's still writing The Good Girls. Okay. There's still 3 more books planned in that one.
But those are indie published, right?
Yes. And then the mystery books.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what she's doing for traditionally published. I haven't heard. So I don't know. Yay, I love that there's some people who haven't. Oh gosh,
I know. I'm so excited for that.
I hope it gets a resurgence now. This one definitely went around like a year and a half, 2 years ago. Yes. Oh my word. So good.
Oh gosh, yes. So good.
Oh yeah. I mean, Dorian. I read about him in all the other books so much that I haven't reread his book since the first time. It's so good. I like her KGI series. Oh, okay. That must be I don't know what that means for. It is on KU. There we go.
I forgot cool. It was on KU too. I wonder how much the audio is. Probably like, I don't know. I might buy the audio for this one this time.
Yeah, it's so good.
I love it.
This will be a new author for me. I love it. So here's a question, and everyone know that Crystal and I, at the end of the day, will do whatever the hell we want. But what are some books or authors you'd like us to look at? Because we're starting to put together our winter list. We have decided to do the seasonally announce them, and we have a couple ideas. But I was just wondering if you have any authors you want us to do, or even if there's specific books. I'm a little sad that some wonderful ones I read them already because I just want us to do them on here. So maybe we'll have to do a bonus episode, a bonus book club sometime, and like Crystal and I each pick a couple for each other or something. Because
I already feel like it would be okay to do that on here. You know, I mean,
I need you to read some of these ones I've been reading. They're just killing me. They're so good. Like seriously.
Annie's song. Or...
oh my god, yeah. Oh my god, yeah. Especially because you love Never Seduces Scott. Like you read it before I did. Like you just have to read that book.
I need to read it. I actually really, really, really want to do an Amanda Quick. I think that is a great idea.
Yeah, I do have quite a bit of hers. I really, really want to know though, like some of the favorite books, because people tell me an author, and there are very few people that I actually trust to tell me historicals because they know what I like. And not that I have to like, but I mean, I want to like it. You know, Bonnie usually knows the ones that I will like. But, I mean, you guys have been watching it for a while. I want it to be pretty steamy. I want it to be fun. I want it to be good. Like, those are my qualifications.
You want it to be good.
I mean,
I get what you mean.
Good is subjective, so that's the thing. Stuff is, I'm like, what's good to you and good to me. But yes, that is true.
Julia London. Actually, I was just looking at some of her books because I haven't read her yet, and I think I own one of hers. I bought the audio when it was on sale for like $4.
Yeah, but I had her a long time ago, and actually rebought a trilogy of hers because I had loved it when I was a teen. I'd read it and I loved it. It's like a desperate ladies trilogy or something. And then I found out a used bookstore and it was like 3 for $5 or something. But I haven't reread them. And she's written so many after that. She writes some contemporary ones now too. That I remember really loving her back then. But it's tough. Some people hold up, some people don't. Yeah,
It's interesting. Like I was just talking about this with my son actually, who he talks to me about, my 16-year-old talks to me about like the music that he's listening to, and it's all really like these young guys that are like sort of like indie authors in the music world, you know. And he's like, this guy, he put out like 10 albums in 2020, and I was talking to him and I'm like, isn't it interesting how the year of 2020 for some creative people, it just like they just produced so much and it just like raised up their level, and then for other people they couldn't create, like it was like a block for them, you know. And I'm just like, it will be so interesting to see what happens, like to people who maybe haven't written since then, or what happens with their books. Like I'm specifically thinking about Tessa Dare. Like I don't know what the holdup is with her, but I know she hinted on Twitter a while ago that it was something about, sounded like some mental health struggles, and 2020. Anyway, it's interesting. So we have not done an Eloisa James yet, but she is on our radar for sure. Uh-oh, looks like we lost.
I'm back. Oh my gosh. It just like fried. Okay, I'm here. Some people couldn't create. I saw T. Manning said Eloisa James. She is on our short list because I love her. So
yeah. And I've only read one of hers, and I want to read more of hers for sure. Yeah.
I got a whole shelf of hers.
Yeah. I own her Desperate Duchess series and a few of her others in the Wild series, but I'm willing to read pretty much anything that she's done.
She does
Donna
have.
Fletcher.
Yeah.
I still haven't read her.
I know, that's crazy. Okay. Here we
Hannah Howell. I've heard a lot of good things about her, Scottish ones. Yeah.
Nice.
Ransom, I haven't heard great. I need to read another Julie Garwood. I need to read The Secret. I think pretty much everybody has read that.
Yeah. That one's amazing.
People get mad at me when I say I didn't like The Bride, and it's not that I hated it. I just didn't love it as much as most people did. So nobody likes to hear that I didn't love that one.
I mean, it's difficult for me, but I understand. What I was going to say, there is an Eloisa James that it's a full-length novel. That's a Christmas one.
Oh, look at what T said. I love this.
That could be fun. Oh, yeah. I did a full breakdown of her books too. But the thing is that's fun is that I don't remember all of her books because she was someone I read like 12 years ago. So I have all of them. But I only really remember the fairy tale ones and then the newest series. Those are the only ones that like. Mary Wine is great. I've only read 3 of hers, but I love them. She has Scottish ones. She's good.
Crescent Coles. I'm interested in that series, honestly.
Yeah. The Carrick Brothers, I think.
And she has like a pirate one too. Yeah. Which I would really like to read also.
Yeah. I would like to read those, but also I listened to a Fated Maid episode and one of them like they're separated for like 70% of the book or something.
Oh, really?
From like because it's like they're on separate boats for most of the book. And I was like, okay, I don't know if I like that, but
yeah.
I think she'll like The Secret more too.
I'm hoping. I think I will.
Your reasons for not liking The Bride were interesting to me at the time, and now that I know you better now than when you read that, and part of it for me I think is that the alpha hole heroes, they don't always work for you. They rarely do. For me, he's one that I read him as cocky a lot of the time, and I liked when she like broke that down, and like that's another case of the entire clan loves her and she's slowly winning over all these people, and he's just still like, no, I'm not gonna love this person. But she just is like ignores him a lot of the time. I don't know. I love a heroine like that who like just ignores him, and then he's like, and everyone else like, she's so wonderful, and he's like, oh, she's so infuriating.
I got it. Like honestly, the reason alpha holes don't certain types don't work for
You're
me, is when they strip the heroine of all of her choice. Like I hate seeing that happen when they like take away any choice that she has, and they do it in a selfish way. Like I just read about a hero like that, and I'm not going to go into detail about it, but it makes me so angry when they, like, I'm not saying that we need to have like explicit consent on everything. Like, that's not what I'm saying. Like, I just don't like it when the hero literally takes choices away from the heroine for her future
Sure.
in a selfish way. Like, I can't. That's a hero that I can't ever get behind.
And I love dubious consent and non-consensual things in books, so it like worked for me, particularly because in that one, being medieval, I'm not saying that she doesn't know what she wants, but I think a part of it is like you don't realize that you were in a tough situation and people are helping you out. And that doesn't mean that it shouldn't have been explained to her more, but I love that the stable master loved her so much that he was like, you seem like a tough guy, but you're going to love her.
Mm-hmm.
And even he's like, I'm not going to love her. I'm taking a bride because I have to. And he's like, you're going to love her. It'll be okay. So I don't know. I kind of like that stuff.
And like I do like dubious consent or things when it's in a way that but like
it's hard in historicals.
It's hard for me in historicals. Yeah.
No, I get it. It's different. It's different in a mafia where you're like, or any that are contemporary, because you still have certain rights that you didn't have before. So in a time when women don't have rights, we want the hero to give her rights, even if society hasn't given them. So
totally.
But that doesn't happen in The Secret. Doesn't happen that way. he's obsessed with her from the beginning, and not in a mean way. Like, he's still a grumpy hero, but he's more just like, crap, I think I really want her. It's just gonna be a pain in the butt.
See, and I think this is an interesting point of view, because it's not that I'm doubting the historical accuracy of it. I just don't like reading it, like I just don't enjoy reading that. I'm not saying that it didn't happen. I just don't enjoy that.
Yes. And again, that's the difference between like the book can be objectively like good and beloved by other people, and you're like, it wasn't my cup of tea at all. But anyway,
Mary Jo Putney is one I'd like to try too.
Yeah. So I believe a Kiss of Fate though doesn't have an ebook. I believe.
Oh, that's the one Jessen was.
Yes, Smart Women Read Romance. We're about to do that book, and it is like very difficult to get your hands on it right now. So me personally, I want to look up that book and get it, but I don't think it's possible for, let's say, like our overseas people or lots of people to get their hands on it because there's no ebook or audiobook, I don't think. So I have heard good things though. And Mary Jo Putney in general, I own quite a few of hers with beautiful stepbacks.
Yeah, her stepbacks are stunning. I have some of hers too. And she's still writing, right? She's one of those that's been writing for a very long time, and she's still publishing. So that would be.
She still has books out too. I love it. But yeah, well, we will go back through all of these because these comments will save, and we're trying to put some together. But do we want to? Well, we better not say that. We'll wait. We may have a surprise to share soon as well. But we're very excited for our anniversary live show next month.
I can't believe we've been doing it for a year. Like, it's so funny. I was just cleaning out my desk, and I found like the notes I had written for our first show. I was so nervous.
We were so much more prepared then. And
we were, but maybe now it's more entertaining. I don't know.
We also quickly realized that doesn't work for all of us.
It doesn't.
Because we don't have to, like, when we do a Kerrigan Byrne book or a Lisa Clay, but like we have lots of detailed things to say. But when we read a book that we just like it, we're like, we liked it. Cool. What are some scenes you liked? Cool. I don't really want to rate. Oh, thanks, Sabrina. I don't really want to rate the steam or like the hero, because I'm like, this hero was like a 5. I didn't hate him.
Yeah. He's not an all-time favorite, but he wasn't bad. He grew on me.
And think of it too, the more amazing heroes we read, like the more disparaging my thing gets. You know,
So
when I was
true.
picking my book boyfriends, I'm like, wow, I really have a big valley between like my favorite. Well, you're at the right place, T. And then everyone else is just like mediocre. We're like, I like them. They were good for the time, but they're just kind of normal. Holy, yes. Yes, I have. I actually don't have a lot of their books. I think I only have
I
one or
have
two.
one of her Scottish books that has been on my TBR like 5 times, and I still haven't read it, and I need to get to it.
Yeah,
So
because someone mentioned her,
yeah.
and then I was like, I think I recently got one. It might be on my TBR cart or my haul cart because I was adding it into my library, and I was like, oh, this is the first one of this author that I have because usually I have a lot of them. So Grace Calloway.
I would like to try another
Oh,
one of hers. I DNF'd the only one of hers that I had read. So
and I never read mine for the readathon. I have
I have
one.
that Christmas one too that you were going to read. It's a
Yeah,
winter or something
yeah,
like that.
because it was free when I got it, and then I bought a physical book of it. I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's
got it
why I got it
free,
too. 'Cause
and
it was
then
free.
I bought one. This is a good point too. I would like to do another indie author soon
Yes,
too.
definitely.
So Grace Calloway has some of those that were indie published, right? Yeah, they are. So
Yeah, they are. And I've been getting like a lot of like recommendations on Amazon for indie historicals. I
yeah,
haven't read any yet, but I
yeah.
definitely want to.
Yeah, I've scooped up quite a few. Like I actually read a couple of them last week, and I unfortunately didn't like that one, but I was like, oh, well, it was free, so I'm glad it was free, and I like tried it and everything. It's just so tough to know from, the blurb, like what level of spice you're gonna get, like how they're writing it, it's just it's
Oh
tough.
gosh, that's the thing that I feel like is the most unpredictable is the writing. Like how is the writing something that I can actually, like that's
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because here's my thing, and you guys should all be aware of this, right? Have you guys ever heard of like the hot girl matrix? That one guy made a video about like the crazier she is, the hotter she has to be for you to work. Whereas like with a man, the uglier he is, the richer he has to be. It was this like kind of misogynistic segment, but it's true. It's that thing where you're like, it's kind of true, even though it makes us feel icky about ourselves. Well, the way I feel about romance novels is this way: the less steam there is, the better the story has to be for me. And it's steamier. And I'm not saying that's always true because we've talked about it. Like I still need the connection and stuff to be great. But the
mm-hmm.
less steam that there is, the stronger the relationship has to be for me. I still want it to be strong if it's spicy. I am not saying I just need blindless erotica. I'm also not saying I don't mind that sometimes. But specifically with historicals,
Mm-hmm.
the less steam I'm going to get, the more you need to build your characters and have them be strong. Like, there's so many historicals I've just fizzled out on, particularly newer ones from this year, which I know I rant about all the time, but they want to have these big fancy stories, and then the connection and you always say it, the tension has to be really strong. It isn't
Yeah.
always about the actual like body time. I just mean like the chemistry and the pull between the characters has to be there. And there's so many times where I'll try to read one that I've never heard of the author before, someone's recommended it, or it's an arc that I'm reading, and they have a good premise for it, and then it just falls flat because they can't build a relationship the way that some of our favorites can.
Yeah.
They have a great idea for it, but they haven't fleshed out the people. They only had a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
They only had a like bombastic idea, and then they didn't build it between them. So anyway, that was a random rant that came out of nowhere, but
It
that's
was a
what
good
I'm
one.
looking for when I've never read an author before. Is it's like, okay, either I need to feel like this chemistry right away, or the story has to be really powerful, and then depending on where you go, like one of those two has to be. There's so many books this year that have only had like one steamy scene in them if they were historical.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
seriously, A Reckless Match, we both just read. I loved the idea for that book. It was
Mm-hmm.
so fun. And there is one scene.
Chef's kiss scene though, but
It
there's
was,
only one.
it was, but they had such great banter and fun stuff. And like, it was like that book could have been a novella. Let's be real. That
Mhm.
could have been a novella
Yeah.
because it takes place in like 2 days
Yeah.
and they're together the whole time. And it's like, this could have been, anyway, again, side rant, but
Yeah.
that's something that annoys me. So anyway, yeah.
Well, have you read any good historicals lately?
Have I read any good history?
I'm setting you up to tell.
I know. Yes. Yes, I have. Oh my gosh, I've read so many good ones, but I can easily say a top three recently, top three historicals that I've read. I've already said This Ugly Ass Beautiful Book, which thank you to Bonnie and to the other people from my channel who told me to read this. I mean, it's a disgrace, but I'd almost rather just have it look like this. Like, let's just have it be coverless. But Eyes of Silver, Eyes of Gold, which is on Kindle Unlimited, there you go, was just gut-wrenching. This was amazing. Dangerous by Minerva Spencer. Chef's Kiss, although that one's on Any Play as well. That one was just so unique. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, this woman was a member of a harem for 17 years from the age of 14. She was a sex slave, basically. And then she gets brought back to England. And of course, no one wants anything to do with her. And all she wants to do is get back to her kid that's over there. She has a son by this man who raped her for all this time. And then her dad just wants to marry her off because he's like, oh, she's damaged goods. I need to like hot potato her to somebody else. And then that one is very sexy. And she has a belly button ring because that's what she got given over there. And our hero is like, I don't know what to make of this, but I like it. And he literally at one point he's like, this is probably a symbol of like demeaning and like ownness by the sheik, but I think it's pretty hot. And she's like, yeah, it's pretty great. He's like, this was a symbol of like ownership. She was pierced, and he's like, but I like it a lot. I don't know. It was just, that one is like, it's very contentious. They're very like fiery with each other, but it's so good. And then, yeah, I mean, I've already said this. I went on and on about it, but Annie's song is so good. So good. It's just, here's the thing. Both Annie's song and this one, well, this one has a lot more going on than Annie's song does, but they're both like such quiet books. Oh, that's right, Tiffany, you started it. I love you so much. I'm so excited. They're so quiet, which was just kind of a nice change. It's all like internal struggle because it's all just trying to figure out how they live, you know. And I like that. I don't like it all the time. I don't want to read Westerns all the time, but trying to figure out how to communicate, and it's so good. Anyway, how about you? You went on a trip too.
I really liked the Jennifer McQuiston that I read. I thought that was super fun. It had such a fun setup. It was The Perks of Loving a Scoundrel. I really liked that one a lot. I've read my first Eloisa James, When Beauty Tamed the Beast. I always want to say either Tempted or Tamed, and I don't remember which one is right. That one is so fun. That's honestly just a pure delight from first to last. Like, that's just so much fun. And then my favorites are probably the Catherine Ashe that I've read. I read The Duke, which I absolutely loved, and then The Prince. And those are actually the last two in that series. The Prince is very unique because the hero he's Middle Eastern and he's hiding the fact that he's a prince. He has a disability from being in a war, and the heroine is training to be a surgeon. So she's like dressing as a man to go to surgical school because she's not allowed to be there as a woman. And she's neurodiverse. Like, I think it says that she has OCD. Well, it doesn't say that she has OCD. The author has said that she has OCD. So that one was very unique and just really, really great. And yeah, those are the three, other than the Elisa Bradens that I've really liked.
Right.
But those are the three that I've read recently that I've just loved. So
yeah, it's been a good time. Oh, yes. Yes. That's the thing, Justin. It absolutely is. Sorry, I'm switching again because my phone is. Don't mind me. Chaos ensues. My phone still hears us. Turn that off. There we go. Okay. Yeah, that's the thing, Justin, is that book is amazing. And I say in my rant that I still recommend it. I just hate the heroine, and other people won't feel the same. We want to talk about a heroine who is unlikable. It is Maddie. It is Maddie.
You're making me so curious to read that because I just want to see if we agree on that.
Oh, you will. I mean, you
think I will?
You would agree with me.
Okay.
You might not get as ragey because I get the rage tears.
Yeah, you were mad. You were big mad.
I cried. I cried because I just wanted to reach in the book and rip her face off. I hated her so much. I can't stand that level of betrayal at that point into a story. And our hero was just so defeated by it because he's done everything he can. And he's just like, then just go. Mm-hmm. Just go. And I've never seen a hero quite feel that way before as well. You know, I feel like often it's like a heroine who might just be like, oh, you just can't settle down. So just go, you know, like if you can't, I don't know. But with this one, he had just overcome so much. And it's just so frustrating because in the beginning, she was the only one who believed him. She was the only one who saw that he wasn't crazy. And then she just like turns on him when she feels like it conflicts with her faith. And like, I get it. Like, but at the same time, I didn't because she refused to realize how many people rely on him. Because that's what it all comes down to is her Quaker ways. And she's like, you have too much money and you're not doing anything good with it. And he's like, do you not realize that 300 people depend on me? And I can't handle you questioning everything. I don't know. Just anyway. But it's fascinating. Like I absolutely love him. The narration is another level. The narrator.
I was going to ask you. I couldn't remember if you had listened to it or if you read it physically. You listened to it.
I listened to it. I had to buy that one. I bought that one on. Well, I used a credit on Audible because it wasn't in my library. It might be in some other people's library. And I definitely want to read another Laura Kinsale, 1000%, because it was wonderful. But
she has like a really popular. Is that one's not medieval, right? Like I think she has a pretty popular medieval.
No. That one is Georgian.
Okay.
Like it's in the 17 somethings. I think so. Or is it Regency? Is it the prince or the king that shows up? I think the king is still alive, so I think it's not the Regency. But anyway, whatever. But yeah, she has a medieval one. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, I was just trying to find it because I think I have the Kindle books because that was another one that came up that was on sale or really cheap.
I know. I want to read The Prince of Midnight.
She does. Yeah, the Medieval Hearts series.
Okay. Yeah, I have
Shadow Heart. That's another popular one.
Oh, okay. Heart. Okay.
Sorry, I keep interrupting you. But
I mean, I do the same thing. It's okay. I have The Prince of Midnight, Seize the Fire, and The Shadow and the Star. And those ones all I bought.
The Shadow and the Star. I think I have that one. Yeah.
Yeah. But The Prince of Midnight, he's like on the horse, and then that one might be Scottish. I think he's wearing a kilt. But anyway, yeah. So those are all we'll look into some of these. This will be fun. Maybe we'll plan all next year. Figure them all out. But
all right. Well,
thanks for hanging out with us, everybody.
Yeah, this was fun, you guys. Thanks for hanging out and reading with us. I love our live shows, and yeah, it's great. So thank you very much. And we'll see you next month. So for our anniversary show.
Yeah, for the Highwaymen. Woohoo!